And if we use a mic, then the owl wants to point right at that speaker.
Got it.
So we decided people have to project.
It's live.
Hey, look at that.
Okay. So then.
Excellent.
So then what?
It's you. You're all over the internet. And me. Yeah.
And one thing down at a time.
Excellent.
I would imagine, I don't know, it's the people's preference. Is it gonna pick up over here? People are sitting?
It should. Yep.
Good morning.
Morning. There you go.
Awesome. So, okay.
That's what I heard too.
Just my power button.
Sorry.
That's okay.
I know. Don't want this to die down. Oh, we should have had him.
So it also says you're on my Zoom call, Davis. It says you're on my Zoom call. Is that correct? Yeah. From the station.
Is the YouTube on the Zoom call now too? Does it have to be?
The YouTube
So you
is
know
a
how the
separate.
Zoom says join YouTube Live or whatever?
No, I've got two different. So the streaming is in a Chrome window, and the Zoom is a separate
But
program.
if you look at Zoom, it does say to connect to the YouTube Live. That there's a function.
Okay. Do you want to do that?
Yeah, just to see.
Is it here?
Okay. Let's see. Oh, there it is. YouTube Live. Live on YouTube.
So it just brought up. It just so I'm already streaming
Got
live
it.
right here.
Okay, so it doesn't somehow
Yeah.
pull the Zoom videos.
No.
Okay, thanks.
Am I in charge of timekeeping or
I believe so. No.
are you going live right at 45?
We're live right now.
It's always this little bit of time.
I feel like the Wizard of Oz. Behind the scenes.
I felt really weird with Is there anybody on the other end that could give us a sound check?
I've tried to do some sound checks this morning already, and it seemed to work out. So I think we're okay. Is this it up here back here?
Yeah.
Erica.
Oh, I.
Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. We're gonna start collecting together. And new to me, there's no mic, so I'm gonna be projecting as loud as I can. Let me know if you need me to speak louder. We are on Zoom as well, and the owl is picking up the microphone for that. But we've been told that everything will be working out. Well, welcome this morning. My name is Julie Matwiu, and I'm pleased to be part of the ComFish Planning Committee, and I'm honored to be here, and I hope you've all had a chance to review the agenda and look forward to the week. So welcome, and thank you for joining the 46th Annual ComFish Alaska Trade Show and Forums today. This is the 46th year that the Chamber has been hosting ComFish Alaska in Kodiak, so that's pretty commendable. Let's give a special thanks to our forum sponsor, today's forum sponsor, Cascade Engines. This year's ComFish co-host, the City of Kodiak, Port of Kodiak, and our forum lunch sponsor today, Silver Bay Seafoods. So I have the pleasure of introducing the Kodiak Port and Harbors Director, Dave Johnson. A lot of you probably already know him. But Dave grew up in Seward, Alaska. His very first job was selling coffee on the docks in Seward. Dave first came to Kodiak in 1995 as a crewman aboard a seiner, working primarily out of Larsen Bay. And after high school, Dave attended the U.S. Coast Guard Academy, graduating in 2001 with a degree in management. He had a commendable 20-year career with the Coast Guard, and he landed himself back in Kodiak. Dave joined the City of Kodiak as Harbor Master and Port Director in 2022, and has focused on providing our world-class fishing fleet with world-class facilities. He believes Kodiak is a special place with one of the few truly working waterfronts left in the state, and wants to see it remain as a truly working waterfront. Dave is currently serving his first term on the Kodiak Island Borough Assembly after serving on the Kodiak Island Borough School Board for many years. He's president of the Alaska chapter of Backcountry Hunters and Anglers, and he serves as an ADF&G basic hunter education and archery instructor. He enjoys the Kodiak outdoors with his family and pets. Welcome, Dave.
Well, good morning. Thank you for that very kind introduction. As said, my name is Dave Johnson. I'm the Port and Harbors Director, and I'll be giving an update this morning on kind of the status of our facilities and what we hope to accomplish in the upcoming year. For those who were in the audience last year, we talked a lot about the starting of plans, and so it's really exciting to be back this year to show how those plans have started coming to fruition. Okay, so we'll be starting with some changes. We do have some harbor users in here, and any chance I get to let folks know of policy changes or focuses, I'll take that opportunity. So we'll start briefly with some harbor policy review. Then I'll be going into an update on where we stand with the rebuild of St. Herman Harbor, and then two really exciting projects that'll be starting here in the next year. All right, policy updates. So for longtime harbor users, a lot of folks have heard of the 60-day cap. We went ahead and eliminated that this year. It's come with a little bit of growing pains, but we found that it was just too cumbersome to manage. Too many vessels that visited Kodiak, once they were here for 60 days, they were here until July 1st, and it made berthing vessels incredibly difficult. But we did implement a monthly billing option for those vessels, so a little bit cheaper opportunity for them to stay. Our charter and viewing fleet is subject to a $3 per person passenger service fee. That started last fall. We'll be enforcing in earnest again this year. And then one that has always kind of existed, but we eliminated the ambiguity and cleared up in the code, was that there's a lot of opportunity for free use of docks and piers, but it needs to be reserved in advance. And so anybody helping themselves to places around the harbor are automatically subject to a double fee for what they've used that day, to try to encourage folks to schedule ahead as required. Electrical code compliance, I've been talking a lot about that for the last few years. Our harbor was built at a time when electrical code did not require a lot of safety measures in marinas. That has changed substantially in the last 40 years. Now marinas require GSCIs, ground fault monitoring and detection, etc. So the channel transient float was built most recently. It is most up to code. So vessels that have tried to plug into the channel transient float and been unable to, generally speaking, it's because of the wiring on the vessel, and that's why. I've got a picture there. Any vessel that's got their neutral jumper to their ground like that is out of compliance and leaking current into the harbor. Once St. Herman is rebuilt and new faces put on the pedestals in St. Paul Harbor, vessels that are not wired properly will not be able to plug into the port here. That's not a matter of choice. That's required by electrical code. So we're just making every effort we can to get the word out to our user fleet, our user base, that getting the isolation transformers installed sooner than later will benefit them and allow them uninterrupted electric use as the harbor is rebuilt. With that, another thing I wanted to, we're really trying to highlight now this spring and change some habit patterns is fish waste. There's been a code in, there's been a rule in city code going back 40 years on fish waste and feeding marine mammals. There's also federal laws that pertains to feeding of marine mammals. It just hasn't been especially important at any given time, but with the in-water work that will be going on, anytime a marine mammal comes in, that water work stops, but we're paying regardless. So for those who were in town a couple weeks ago, we had a really great community event. Local dive enthusiasts volunteered their time to come in and remove trash and debris from the bottom of the harbor. Unfortunately, that dive was cut short about an hour early because a vessel in the harbor was dumping bait and it brought in the sea lions. So that's the exact scenario we're talking about. Those stop works cost the harbor a lot of money, so we will be strictly enforcing the dumping of fish waste, especially going forward with this upcoming construction. So maximum opportunity for folks to hear about that and know now, if they're picking nets, to do it into a trash can and then remove that to a fish waste container as opposed to in the water. It's going to be very important for us going forward. All right, so the reason I think most folks are here is to hear where we're at and where we hope to be with St. Herman Harbor. One thing I always like to start these discussions with is what system engineers call the bathtub curve. That says when you build something new, whether it's the first model year of a car, a new fighter jet, a new boat, it doesn't matter. When you first introduce it, you have a lot of expense. For a product line, they call that infant mortality. That's as you're working out the kinks in any new system. So you have a lot of upfront expense when you introduce something new. Then you have a long time of relatively low failure rates, low maintenance expenses. That's your usable life of a facility or an asset. Where you get into trouble is on the end of that bathtub curve. When the asset gets to the end of its service life, it becomes exponentially more expensive to repair, to keep in service, and the parts become antiquated and impossible to get. So in 2010, City of Kodiak hired P&D to do an assessment of St. Herman Harbor. At that point, P&D told us we were kind of right here at the end of that bathtub curve. So go ahead and click it. It'll give us a little animation. So we're here. We are losing floats. Generally, every big windstorm is taking floats out of service. Some of them permanently because they're bringing down corroded pilings with them. Sometimes it's just the floats that come apart and we can return them to service. But a broken float is about a week of labor for staff. So as you can imagine, if we break 4 floats in a windstorm, it's a month of work that staff are putting in to get those back in service, and it just becomes never increasing tail that we're chasing on the maintenance. All right, so this is as I said, last year we came in and talked about starting this process, where we were at with it, some rough ideas. We took a lot of feedback during ComFish from our local users and ComFish visitors, and we got some really important input. and that was added to the design that we'll be going over today. This is an overarching St. Herman plan. Skip to the next one. We can zoom in a little. So this is the main rebuild of St. Herman Harbor that we're looking at. It will result in 2 new floats in addition to replacing the existing floats by decreasing float width, the width between floats slightly. We're able to add in a couple more floats. So the current configuration of St. Herman Harbor, this E through L float that you see, currently has 318 slips total. The new rebuild will be adding 331 designated slips with an approximate 20 to 30 more linear slips. So 45 new vessel slips for vessels between 30 and 60 feet will be added in this. And then on the next slide, you'll see phase 1, which we hope to start in 26. That's going to be a combination drive down, float, and large vessel mooring. So the drive down float here at the base of it, we're looking at a 120 by 20 foot span, 130 by 20 foot span that vehicles can drive down onto the drive down. That's a 120 by 80 foot drive down float that we can be able to put up to 4 vessels on. And then we're going to add the 9 new fingers, 18 slips, and approximately 6 vessels worth of linear moorage. Those are 110 foot fingers for the largest class of vessels that we normally see and that we have a lot on the wait list for here in Kodiak. Starting hopefully this fall and over the winter will be the demolition of the St. Paul Harbor boat launch ramp. That boat launch was built shortly after the earthquake. Older building codes and elastic rebound, I'm told, has post-earthquake has caused that ramp. So it's completely dry at any minus tide and pretty unusable below about a +2. This new design, ADF&G requires all ramps that they participate in the construction of to be make it so that vessels are usable. You can launch and recover in all anticipated tidal ranges, or like 95% of them, or whatever. But point is, new ramp is going to be about 2 degrees steeper and about 5 to 6 foot deeper. So for the wreck boaters or small boat users who are tired of being talked to about power loading, this should alleviate most of that because the steeper ramp will allow vessels to float right onto the bunks much easier. It's going to be cut into the hill over there in St. Paul Harbor a little more. You can see from the current ones that it doesn't extend out too much further. Another really exciting piece of this project was there was ADF&G had some funding available. We had some funding to partner. Down here, we're looking to build a fish cleaning station, a permanently fixed fish cleaning station. Will have multiple tables for folks to clean. That's what's called a chute and a humpy tub or a humpy barge. Fish waste will be collected in that and then towed out by the harbor instead of the little trailers we're using now. They're used in a lot of coastal communities, and they can we can go a lot further between empties. They're usable a little more year-round, and it'll create a little more opportunity in the harbor for folks to clean their fish near their boats. Next one we'll be talking about is Oscar's Dock. So for those who are unfamiliar, on Oscar's Dock, there's a chain link fence around some of the parts of the dock. My understanding is they were put there in 2011 as a temporary solution to some weight restrictions. So this year, we are going to be looking to finally remove those temporary fences. The entire dock is going to get built to one level so that net mending will be a lot easier to conduct on the dock. And then we'll be looking to put a covered roof over it. That covered roof will be multi-use. When the cruise ships come in, a lot of times they choose to lighter, especially when school's in session, because they lack for transportation from Pier 2. So they lighter to Oscar's Dock, and there's not a lot of covered space out there for the cruise ship passengers, so it'll give them somewhere to congregate out of the rain that does tend to happen here in Kodiak on rare occasion. Also, when cruise ships aren't using it, it'll be a covered net meeting area for the fishermen, so they can do their work out of the rain, hang nets from the ceiling, etc. We're also expecting that it can be a community event space where food trucks can come down, set up tables underneath the roof. Beartown Market during cruise ship days, etc. So I think there's a lot of economic opportunity with this project and a lot of good use for our harbor customers on Oscar's Dock. So that project, as I said, should be kicking off this year. This is a AI image of what a covered net mending area is. I'm not quite proficient enough to make it look exactly how I wanted. There should be another 6 to 8 feet of deck on this side, and obviously not one on that, but I'm limited by my computer skills. We're looking at a minimum 10-foot height. It'll obviously be peak, so that'll increase. And kind of the neat thing, I think, because I'm a bit of a nerd about these types of roofs, is that a roof, it tends to act like an aircraft wing. So wind going over it creates lift, makes the roof want to lift off. That's why you see a lot of different housing construction places where you can strap roofs down and whatnot. What I think is interesting is with a build like this that doesn't have walls, they typically use cement in the bottom of the structure to keep that roof from going up. But on the dock, they can't, so all the engineering goes into those ceiling joists that'll be designed to withstand those 100+ mile-an-hour winds without ripping the roof off. Next slide, please. And then I'd like to close with the video that we produced last year on the harbor. If you just click, it should go to the video. And then I will be glad to open this up and take any questions folks might have.
I chose Kodiak because it's a hub. It is, in my opinion, like one of the most centrally located, well-equipped and accessible marine hubs in Alaska.
I've had a lot of use boat harbor here. I have a vessel here that's still active. Kodiak is probably the most diverse and the largest port in the. For over 40 years, St. Harbor has served commercial, recreational fishing activities, received cargo and supplies, connected the Alaska Marine Highway system to the city, facilitated military and scientific operations, and accommodated the growing cruise and recreational exploration traffic transiting the Arctic. The harbor's infrastructure, which was originally constructed in 1982, has exceeded its useful life. The exposure to the austere marine environmental elements and the ravages of time taken a toll, resulting in the loss of vessel parts faster than they can be replaced, and multiple collapsed pilings and floats. This impacts both the storage capacity, ability to house our fleet, and the revenue generated for the harbor. It's a never-ending cycle of trying to make it suitable and applicable, and it's really kind of a shame because it's important to the community.
Makes it a lot more difficult for families and the community to go out and fill their freezers for the winter time. The harbor is used by everybody: commercial fishermen, sports fishermen, locals. It's used by everybody.
So Kodiak has the largest Coast Guard base in the country. We are a certified and recognized Coast Guard city. We just went through that again. We're very proud of that. We also know that the Coast Guard base here is vital. Kodiak is an ice cream port. There aren't many ice cream ports in Western Alaska that can accommodate any kind of being a gateway to the Arctic. The Arctic right now is a major strategic place for different countries. And the USA, we need to be on top of it. We will continue to advocate for Kodiak being to the Arctic.
Kodiak really is the hub for all those things, and without the facilities we can get and should have, without that, we're losing economic development opportunities, we're losing labor, we're losing residents. We're expecting somewhere in the neighborhood of 30 million fish, and we haven't even got 10 yet.
Ngunit hindi lamang kabuhayan natin ang nakataya. Ito ang aming paraan ng pamumuhay. Ang daungan ay kung saan bumili ka at nagbabahagi ng mga kwento at tradisyon.
When you're backing, we'll create more jobs and attract commercial activity and tourists, allowing us to reinvest in the heart of our community.
Kodiak's geographic location has continued to serve as a strategic location and is emerging as a gateway to the open Arctic. And with your help, we can embrace this vital role. So let's reconstruct St. Herman Harbor, the lifeblood of our community, where the legacy of our ancestors merges with the promises of tomorrow. Stand with us, support us, and be a part of this journey. Together we can build a sustainable future, a future that honors our heritage, sustains our livelihoods, and fosters growth and prosperity. Koyana.
Are there any questions that I can answer from the audience? Oh, forever last year. Yes.
Question. It's great to see that there's continued progress. I've also heard that we've lost funding for it, and can you clarify or where we are with that?
Yeah, that is accurate. So the city was awarded $11.25 million from MARA to pay for phase one. If we go back a couple slides.
Yep.
We'll keep that up since that's one that'll happen first. Yes, so Senator Murkowski had put $10 million in congressional directed spending in the budget for phase one as well. That was eliminated. So right now we are short. We've been talking to the city council about a general obligation bond to make up the difference for phase one. So I think our intent is to continue as if we will be doing construction in 2026 on phase one. So I think one of the things since I got this job I've put a lot of effort into highlighting is that we don't have time for a slow fundraising campaign. So we will, continue pursuing those funds as aggressively as we can, and simultaneously having hopefully some bond options to back us up with. Please.
I have another, sorry. Have there been any updates? I was talking to you and your staff a little bit about clean harbors and disposal facilities for waste. And I particularly wanted to touch on any conversations about flare disposal. Can you give us any updates on that content, or has there been discussions with the
flares in particular? Not recently. At the last PHAB meeting a couple weeks ago, we kind of coalesced around the plan. The PHAB is going to draft a letter to the Solid Waste Advisory Board at the borough requesting the hazardous material services that they feel the fleet needs, and then between kind of the PHAB and the Solid Waste Advisory Board meeting together, come up with a list of recommendations to the borough assembly and the Port and Harbors as to who can kind of take on what to best serve those needs. Because consolidating it is the biggest problem.
I've had some conversations with the borough about this, and I think it's a great need in our community.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a marine safety trainer, and I end up with hundreds of flares that I want, but also our fleet too.
Yeah.
There's nowhere to put them, so I think it's an important conversation, and I haven't had the time to have it with you yet. So.
Well, I agree, because the easier it is to dispose of flares, the less likely folks are to shoot them off recreationally, which creates a lot of problems. So, fully agree that the easier it is to dispose of those types of material, the more compliance we'll have. Yes, sir.
If the city gets a general obligation bond rather than a revenue bond, who pays for it and at what time?
Well, that's that's a council decision ultimately. We've preliminarily had discussions on what combination of general fund revenue and harbor revenue would be combined to pay for that bond. But the general obligation bond is a much more feasible bond to get for a project of this magnitude.
So the decision hasn't been made yet how the bond will be paid for.
Correct.
And what will be the timeline for that?
It would be about all general obligation bonds are required to be a ballot initiative, so it would be on the fall election cycle.
So the decision on how it will be paid for will be before the initiative is made?
It would be a recommendation to the voters, Kodiak.
explain that, the recommendation.
So the city council would recommend to voters of Kodiak that they approve a general obligation bond. And there would
how
be,
would it be paid for?
well, that would be
In the recommendation?
in the recommendation. Yeah, I can't speak for the council as to how they would elect to pay for it. Yes, sir.
Back when that Oscar's dock was built, David was I on the city council, and we advocated for construction of that dock. And there was discussion about a roof, like we talked about. And a lot of the fishermen objected to that because with all of the docks that move on flatbeds, they wanted to drive up to those docks. And there was a very significant discussion and conversation and decision. And they wanted to be able to just come up with a flatbed, use the crane on the flatbed and just drop them over because they were using those big docks there to prepare the pots. So I don't know if that came up in any of your discussions, but it's going to make it very difficult for the flat fishermen to get back to using that. It was a very useful because the boats would pull up there and they would load them. Then they would load them. Then after they worked on them and fixed them up, they would pull their trucks over on the other side and just bring them right over and drop them on the boat. So there's, kind of two very important activities here that are going to be prohibited if you put a roof in that area. So that would have your attention.
Yeah, so there has not been any of our local users express concern about pots on Oscars. It's been pretty resoundingly supported by the PHAB to get this roof on. The other thing I would add to that is the design is going to go over where the fences are now. So it's not going to preclude people from still driving out onto the dock. There's going to be a space between where the roof ends and then a width wide enough for a vehicle to still drive out onto.
Okay, well, maybe it never came up. I'm just bringing it up because I think it was a legitimate discussion then, and it's gonna. So fishermen who want to load docks over that, pots over that boat are not going to be able to buffer that dock, and really probably not going to be able to do it to a large extent. So you guys just do not consider that issue. That doesn't mean that it can't be reconsidered.
It was discussed. I discussed that specific because you had come to me with those concerns before. I specifically brought those concerns forward to members of the PHAB who were very clear that they were much more interested in the covered area than they were concerned about losing potential access. Yes.
Can you talk about the expected traffic this upcoming season?
Certainly. It's kind of a unique or an interesting season going on. There's, for anyone who hasn't looked around the waterfront, we have a lot of barges in town. Both the Coast Guard and one of our canneries are doing some dock work. So there's a lot of extra large vessel traffic hanging out in Kodiak right now. We've also got, we've had a couple cancellations. We've got 26 cruise ships coming this summer with the first scheduled for the end of this month. We've got multiple Coast Guard reservations, large Coast Guard vessels, an NSC and an icebreaker coming through a couple times. We're hosting the Alexia League right now. They'll be mooring up today. And gosh, yeah, got your processors coming. It's when we take Senator Murkowski out later today, one of the things we'll be talking about is the future of the waterfront here in Kodiak. Pier 2, which is kind of our general use pier, is anticipated to run out of space by about 2028. We're looking to divert more traffic to Pier 3, and again, revitalizing Oscar's Dock for additional use. But we need to expand our pier space in some way to make up for the additional traffic we're seeing. Hopefully, the Army Corps of Engineers will be starting a general investigation next year, and they'll help us locate the ideal spots for some of that infrastructure. But it's certainly a high priority of ours going forward for the next 5 to 10 years is to find enough pier space to accommodate everything moving this direction. All right. Well, if there are no other questions, I will give everybody back the rest of their time, and I will be around for a few minutes to answer anything offline. Thank you very much. Appreciate everyone's time today.
appreciate that update and content. So thank you for joining us this morning. Our trade show opens at 2:00 at the marketplace. So our hours are a little different this year, our days and hours, but we have a great agenda. So the trade show will be operating today from 2 to 7. And we're also, the chamber's selling Crab Fest merchandise and raffle tickets up on the second floor of the marketplace. And at this evening, we'll have a evening reception at the marketplace tonight, starting at 6:30 with food and drinks, courtesy of Cascade and Mitsubishi engines. So we deliberately extended the hours of ComFish into the evening, so more folks in town could come after hours. And I hope that the scheduling works out for people. But thank you, Dave. And our next speaker will be at. I have a long time.
10:45.
10:45. It's not correct here. So. All right, so 10:45. So we have a little bit of break. Thank you. Then we have demonstration reception. Yeah.
Brian's.
Okay.
I was curious. Are you planning on having?
I'm not. But John, we do have a booth. We more of our I do not. I try to keep track of that, but
We're doing
well, that was a special cruise, and then this year we're doing another house. We're actually and then studying the products and when you were here with them. Oscar guys that on the I didn't go out, but that was this group. So it was a great time. This time, my team's
Okay.
The project that
And are you using Mitsubishi for that?
No, that was going to be on the radio.
Okay, so that's my misunderstanding. For some reason I thought,
No, there's no I'm not so
Right.
No, my team.
Okay.
He's doing it all right.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess they have to schedule it.
Oh, yes. Right.
Hello.
So yeah, we're still after I finish here.
Thank you, Wes.
Yep.
I know. So it was good to see you.
Yeah.
Well, it was just.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just process water.
And then there's.
Well. Yeah, he log in via Teams. So we change it from Zoom to Teams. And then, you can, we don't have to because the mic is designed to be able to speak out instead of to a person. So some people talk about Wes, did that work when Julie was talking, asking questions, or when Josie asked questions? Did it go to them?
So I wasn't able to monitor it because I had the PowerPoint up.
Oh, okay.
It's just the
So you don't
screen.
know.
I know it's working around this area
Okay.
for sure.
All right, I'll make sure to stress when questions and answers. Cascade Engines, our farm sponsor, facility secrets.
No, so
No, there's no Right.
I've noted it.
And then we have the ones that we can
Is it? Okay. Yeah, no. I don't know if we have, so we have, which is the, safety training organization.
Good job.
I don't know. Yeah. Right, so. So.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm doing well. I have my own reserved. That's right. Don't try and sit at my table.
The senators. I didn't know I have to like announce that at next. Good job.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We call it in and. Well,
They're not shut off, like,
yeah.
and so they're shut off. We might, but I don't know if they take that. We do, but I don't know if they take that on.
You know, yeah, having the house. So.
Because of the, yes,
And, this word, my husband's also.
sure, someone like just put it in the box or whatever, so we don't have. Yeah. Sure.
So they declare it. So they're routine.
Yeah.
The waste disposal
I
factors.
think I'm gonna bring this up to the
You're-
author
you're part of the-
as a project.
That, we find it answers.
Because we have such a large road,
Yeah.
I doubt we've ever asked
on the,
that.
flagpole.
And because of our other facilities.
No, the Western Kodiak Inn.
And our life raft free packers, of course, are happy. Sure. Sure.
Be nice.
They're up. No, in fact, they have their own package.
I will keep you in mind and ask about.
That is another.
I'm the moderator, I'm the moderator. Try to.
What insurance has been passed that are you promoting prices? Inflation over time.
Yeah.
Just to mention that inflation. They actually do that for a lot of different segments of the market, including insurance. So I have to jump through some.
Yeah. What are you doing here? Did you land it or came up for this? I mean, did you? They're locked in. Okay. And you're done. Okay. Right? Okay.
I don't have a mic, right? No mic. You don't need one. No, we're trying to do this live stream. And, yeah. But I kept pointing to the speaker. Because the sound was coming from the speaker and it was pointing towards the sound. So yep, that's what they do. So that's why you don't have a mic.
I was in Sullivan. I guess I was born in Wales. You guys know what the Wi-Fi password is? Like, we were on a campus.
I don't.
I
Should too. Yeah.
I am going to be going to Cordova.
Oh, for
Talk a little bit about
Sand Harvest Castle.
No.
Or you were the morning thing that I have it on my calendar. So.
Right, Nate.
Guys, it's not by the gym.
Stop by Peoria. We got an autopilot.
Okay, I was gonna say that's
All the things busy planning for this week. Last week I was in for last club.
Actually, that's what else happened. Basically, posting on colors.
Promote. So, hey guys, that's gonna be awesome. I'm out.
11,500 people already. 60 countries. Yeah, a lot of those things network everyone trying to get our bases. You know, no contracts.
They do. You know, it's both.
There's a lot of higher kick for us.
After the conference, let's sit down, just chat about some stuff that we found, connections you guys have made, that, you know, hopefully that things pan out.
We should, John.
Oh, yeah,
he's here.
Yeah. Sand Harvest Task Force is like state.
Hey, Adam, can you hear me?
How do you think I could get the best audio?
I'm going to try and get the audio through the Apple right here.
Okay.
So if you wanted to leave your phone here, maybe might work. We got audio through that device, through the speaker in the projector for the first one, and I didn't like it very much. So let me. It says I can select it, so we're going to try that.
Just had to double check how many hours I have remaining on my phone.
Oh yeah.
My storage is constantly full.
It's not a form like talk. It's more of a casual several of them.
I think probably the 6 is the best one, but yeah.
See what happens.
Hey, I'm just checking to see if anyone can hear me. Can you hear me through this microphone? Any luck yet? Anybody can hear me? Hold on.
So it's weird.
Right. Just do it.
There we go.
Around that, but I'm assuming there's probably a lot of part-time. Just once a year, but they've done it their whole life.
The last couple of years have been laid off for a number of pounds over the last 4 years.
So you run for this one?
Yeah, well, we got over there too.
Okay, so do we.
Hey, checking to see if anyone can hear me on there, on the Teams call. There was a hand. I saw a hand.
We got 2 minutes, Chris. What do you got?
All right, can I hear you?
Sarah, can you hear me?
There you go. You're coming through. Thank you.
No problem.
Hey, just double checking. This is Anderson from Center Sullivan. Make sure you guys can hear me.
It's very loud in the room, but I could hear you. Yes.
See if there's anything I can do about that.
All right.
Waiting on this.
Hey, welcome to ComFish.
Thanks so much. Is this any better?
That's better.
Okay, great.
Hey, Senator Sullivan, Lindsay Knight. I'm introducing you.
Great. This is just Anderson. Senator Sullivan will be here in just a moment. But
Okay.
Perfect.
We'll certainly let you know.
I interpreted the audio for the Zoom.
Yes.
I was trying to get online and it was very sporadic and I couldn't even hear you guys.
Yep. I think I fixed it for this next session.
Oh, good.
Yep. Yeah, I noticed that, and it wasn't working very well for that last session, but I think I fixed it. Thanks for letting me know.
Recording in progress.
Do we have the senator online yet?
It'll be just one moment.
Thank you. Let's hold on.
We're just waiting for the senator.
Okay.
Hello, welcome.
Hey guys, can you see me?
Give me just 1 second. Let me make you big on my screen.
Okay.
We're gonna make you bigger, Senator.
Okay, I think that we're ready. We're going to have
Okay.
Lindsay introduce you.
Hey,
Great,
Senator.
thanks guys.
Hey, Senator Sullivan. So my name's
Lindsay,
Knight.
thanks.
Yeah, you bet. Thanks for joining us. So my name's Lindsay Knight. I wear a lot of hats in the community, but I'm on the chamber board, and that's the hat I'm wearing today. And it's my pleasure to welcome you to the 46th annual ComFish. And I'd like to give special thanks to our forum sponsors, Cascade Engines. Anybody from Cascade here? And the city of Kodiak, I know they're here in the port of Kodiak. And our forum lunch sponsor is Silver Bay Seafoods. So since being elected in the Senate in 2015, Senator Sullivan has championed the priorities and the interests of Alaska fishermen and coastal communities in Congress. Relentlessly pressed the highest ranking officials, both in the Democrat and the Republican administrations, to do that same. As a member of the Senate Commerce Committee, Senator Sullivan has been able to pass legislation or secure federal actions that have empowered fishing industry experts to oversee and help direct federal fisheries. Senator Sullivan has long been a leader of addressing global marine debris crisis, authoring the Save Our Seas 2.0 Act, the most comprehensive ocean cleanup legislation ever to become law. He also fought alongside Southeast Alaska troll fishermen against a radical environmental group seeking to shut down their industry, authoring numerous amicus briefs throughout the successful legal process. Finally, Senator Sullivan has been fighting for years against Russia's seafood price war, successfully banning the import of Russia origin seafoods and closing a regulatory loophole that allowed Russia seafoods to access America markets funneled through China. Going forward, Senator Sullivan will continue to focus on keeping Alaska fisheries strong, sustainable, fighting burdensome and unnecessary regulations, expanding markets for Alaska seafood, protecting Alaska's marine ecosystem, and ensuring commercial fishermen remains a viable career path for the future and for future generations. And one of the things I like about Senator Sullivan is he's like a real guy. So the story I like to tell about him is he came to ComFish, I don't know, Crab Fest a couple, 3 years ago, and he entered the survival suit race. And I think he came in third. Is that right, Senator? So anyway, Senator Stevens.
Sullivan.
Yeah, welcome, Senator Sullivan. Floor is yours, sir.
Hey, Lindsay, thanks. By the way, I came in third, but I was the anchor on my team. I had like the all-star team, and I almost drowned when I came in third. But hey,
I was there watching you and cheering you on. No, you did great.
Well, we got on the medal stand, right? We got the bronze.
Yeah,
so,
yes, you did.
but it certainly wasn't because of me. My team would have gotten the gold had it not been for me. But I appreciate you saying that. So thank you, Lindsay, Ellen, Julie, Dave. I know so many have been focused on putting this on. I think my friend Matt Allward's probably out in the audience somewhere. But look, I just want to begin by thanking all of you. I really, really wanted to make it to ComFish this year. I was able to make it last year, and kind of the whole point was making sure we were there, kind of showing the congressional delegation flag. And because let's face it, you guys have been going through a really rough time, and we want you to know that we're there with you. And ComFish is always one of the highlights of my year. Last year was great. The hospitality, great food, great beer, by the way, great people. So thanks. And again, I apologize for not being able to make it. But one of my goals and hopefully you guys have seen it, is to make our industry, our fishing community strong against a lot of tough challenges. You know, fishing is in Alaska's DNA, and it's so important part of our economy, jobs, our culture, healthy communities. So let me begin by thanking all of you. You guys are the real heroes. This is a great part of our state, our heritage. So I want to give a round of applause to everybody who's at ComFish right now. Thank you guys for all the great work that you do. I always like to say on the Commerce Committee, heck, even not on the Commerce Committee, Alaska, we're the superpower of seafood. I never tire of saying that. Over 2/3 of all seafood harvested in America, commercial, sport, subsistence, comes from Alaska, which is amazing. And that's because of all you guys. That's really amazing. So I'm not there, but I am going to do a little bragging. It doesn't you know, no insults to anyone else, but my team is either here with me or listening online in DC, or some are actually at ComFish right now. And you know, I'm just going to say it. I think I have the best fisheries team in the Congress. It's not even a close call. Eric Elam, as you know, has so much knowledge. He actually is my legislative director and does a lot on our fisheries. Anderson Tran, you guys know, many of you know, he's here with me today. I think he's heading out after this to ComFish. He worked for Congressman Graves and Congressman Young, both very strong voices for fisheries. Elena Spraker, who's my regional director. She's actually with all of you today. Say hello to Elena. She's never shy about speaking up. She does a great job. She's my regional director for the Kenai and Kodiak. Connie Vo is also with you today. She's a Sea Grant Fellowship Fellow in my office. She started recently. She's doing a great job. She's a grad student at UAF Fisheries program and is from St. Paul. So she's doing a great job. Karina, you guys know, is actually out fishing. Well, you want to talk about someone who's really, you know, knows the issues. She does a great job for me. So anyways, so what I want to do is give an update like I did last year. I will tell you though, and hopefully you know it, my team and I, we spend, not every day, we spend every hour on fisheries. We care so much about our fisheries, about you guys, our incredible coastal communities, that great team that I just talked about. This is a huge focus of mine and my team. So I want you to know that. A little bit of different politics going on in DC. A lot of things happen. A little bit of chaos, I will tell you. But I think overall the direction's good. Republicans are now in the Senate majority, of course, in the White House and in the House. And that means that now I am the chairman of the subcommittee on the Coast Guard, Maritime Issues, and Fisheries. And we also, so I'm spending a lot of time on that, and I'll get to some of the issues. So that's really the top position in the U.S. Senate, focused on fisheries and the Coast Guard. I chair that now. And look, we have a new administration that I think is going to be a lot more supportive